statistically, over the last 40 years, the greatest investment that you can make is in real estate or in the stock market. And yet everybody's talking about how bad the stock market is. Welcome back, guys. It's Mike Frank with Berkshire Hathaway. Frank Oliver and Company coming to you on this beautiful Monday day. We're supposed to be 70 today. Can you believe that? Anyway, lots of things going on. We want to talk a little bit about how the stock market is going to affect real estate, and more so how this whole coronavirus thing is really affecting our business. It's going to be interesting as this plays out, and we want to kind of get ahead of it. So we've got a lot of things going on. We put in a couple offers over the weekend. Very exciting. We have a listing coming to the market this week. Very excited for Zach and Shaylee to take that next step for their family, and they're moving back to the West Coast. So exciting for them. Of course, we have the path to homeownership at the end of the month, 21 days from now, 23 days from now, something like that. So if you guys know anybody looking to buy in the spring market, path to homeownership is a great home buyer event for them to get started. Also, Jen and Tyler, finally, I think this was their third offer. Super congratulations to you guys for getting under contract. Very excited to work with you guys over the course of the next couple of months. And they may be the first person of 2020 to attend one of our home buyer events and then transact with us. So very excited for them. All right. So talking about the stock market. Everything's crazy. Everybody's worried. Sell, 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 buy, buy, buy. Lots of things are going on, and we're not going to talk about stock. What we want to talk about is how it's going to affect the real estate market. And the thing to understand is that the stock markets don't drive our real estate investment. They don't drive our equity position. They don't drive our interest rates. That's not exactly how we get driven. It fluctuates based on those. But the big thing to understand is that as the Fed directs the interest rate, the national interest rate, higher and lower, it's going to affect the real estate interest rate higher and lower accordingly. So everybody's been hearing a lot of things in the last couple of weeks about how low interest rates are right now. And they are, dramatically low. There are people that are getting locked in at 3, at 2.875, at 3.25, and that's just unheard of. In my 7 years in the business, we've gone as low as 3.5. Last summer, we were at 3.5, maybe almost 3.375, but very, very few people, if any, have gotten locked in at 3%. Now, we've got a couple clients right now locked in at 3% in their particular loan programs. But if you own a home today and you haven't yet considered making that transition into refinancing or selling your home and getting into a new one, the affordability in this market is insane. So as this stock market takes its tumbles and does its thing, the real estate market kind of sees something similar running alongside of the interest rate. Now that's really an amazing thing for purchasing and your buying power in the market. So one of the things that people wonder is, will their home sell in a market similar to this, where interest rates are fluctuating, where the stock market is going crazy? And what you should know is when interest rates lower, buyers can afford more. We actually just had a luxury of getting into a really rough situation with the buyer. Negotiations went a little bit sour, but what ended up happening, the buyer paid $12,000 more for the home that they wanted. But in the end of the day, their expected monthly payment was $50 less than where they started. $385,000 house, big shout out to Johnny and Becca. $385,000 house, their expected monthly payment, and they knew where they were going to be. 2 weeks later, all things are done, all deal is signed. Their monthly payment at a $397,000 house is going to be $50 less because their interest rate plummeted over the last couple of weeks. So great. They're able to afford more. The seller's able to capitalize on their investment, and buyers are able to move forward with the house that they want because they can afford more property. So in the end of the day, as you're considering selling your home, remember, the market is hot in the spring. There's a ton of buyers in the market, and those people that might have been pre-approved in November for $250 might be pre-approved now for $280. Somebody that's pre-approved for $525 might now appreciate to $600,000. It's an insane consideration. But remember that as we look to move forward, homes will sell. It's a matter of what price and how many buyers can we find for the market. So again, just like we talked to you about last week, you want to identify the realtor professional that you trust to help you negotiate that process. Something that people were talking about is how concerned they are that should they be investing in a home in this kind of a fragile market. Well, statistically speaking, Over the last 40 years, the greatest investment that you can make is either A, in the real estate market, or B, in the stock market. Statistically speaking, no matter what you do, you're going to see that value improve. And if you're continuing to rent for fear, you're just being foolish. That fear needs to motivate you to go get off the couch and do something, because right now, the industry is crazy. And if you leave it up to the news lines, they're going to convince you that this is a terrible time to do anything. I mean, don't even get on a vacation. Don't go on a plane. Don't get on a train. Don't go to an event, because for fear of what might happen. But statistically, over the last 40 years, the greatest investment that you can make is in real estate or in the stock market. And yet everybody's talking about how bad the stock market is. That's a short-term gain. Look at your long-term asset. Look at your long-term equity. Your opportunity is today to get locked into a super low interest rate, whether it's 3.25, 3.5, 3.25, or 3.125, whatever that might look like for you. That's where the value is going to be improving. Something that people want to know is, should they act quickly or should they wait until there's some stability in the stock market? Well, you have to act at your own pace. You have to wonder, how long is it going to take you to transact, and what's that going to look like? If you're locked into a lease for another 9 months, is it worth terminating your lease? That's where you need a real estate professional like ourselves to sit down with you and analyze your situation. In conjunction with that lender that you're going to work together with, we should be able to create a plan that makes the most sense for your goals. In the end of the day, interest rates are low today, they could be high tomorrow, and you can't jump on the bandwagon just because you want to get to something. You have to make a plan that makes sense. In the end of the day, you might be qualified for a 3% interest, or you might be qualified for a 4% interest. You might end up having to pay off debts in order to get to where you want to go. But if you start acting today, tomorrow, you're going to be able to have the equity position that you want. That's the goal here. Being afraid of the stock market, being afraid of the interest rates, is just going to cause you to be in the same place in 9 months or in a year that you're in today. Fear won't move you forward. Fear of moving forward is what should motivate you to get to where you need to go. So, last thing we want to talk about is just to put a little bit of confidence behind our world. Where are sales today? Sales today are in a strong position to continue to rise. We've been seeing over the last 3 months, we're going to get a quarterly report at the end of this month, and I think it's going to show that sales are continuing to rise, both in volume, both in units, both in transaction quantity. We're going to see that there's more happening in our market because it's just a great time of the year. Without having a lot of weather this winter, we got to see a lot of buyers transact maybe earlier than they were prepared to do so last year. And a lot of buyers are going to continue to come into the market. So if you're considering getting into the market, get ahead of the competition. If you're considering listing your home, have a conversation with somebody that you trust. What we want to do is we want to create that opportunity for you. And without reaching out, you'll never make that next step. Don't let fear of what's going on in the stock market prevent you from making the best transition for the next 40 years of your life. All right. Off the soapbox, moving into some more things. Real estate is out of the way. We're getting into Baltimore, right? So this week, we're coming up on St. Patrick's Day next week. So the Shamrock Festival, Shamrocks and Shenanigans, is going on down at Power Plant Live this Saturday. I think it's all day long from 12 o'clock until 9 p.m. It's going to be a lot of fun. Tickets range from $20 to $80. It's a great way to get out and enjoy some of this beautiful weather. Also, if you haven't ventured over to Full Tilt Brewing, it's just down the street from our office. It's a great space. Small but not cozy. It's not huge. It's a great space to go enjoy an after dinner or after hour cocktail. On Fridays, every Friday from 3 until 9 p.m., they host kind of Appreciation Fridays, and that's for military, firefighters, police, and for teachers, 20% off your whole check. They do have the food truck out front, and they do have a wealth of beers out there. If you have not been, stop by and check it out. Let me know when you're headed over there, and we'll go over and meet you. I'd love to talk to you guys, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe for weekly content. Also, check out our social media pages. The links are in the description below. See you next week.